Hi, I'm Adley. I used to think birthdays were supposed to be special. At least that's what TV shows always told me. But in the Parker household, my 17th birthday turned out to be the day everything changed. Morning, birthday girl. Ready for your special day? Mom's voice carried that artificial sweetness that always made me uneasy. Yeah, thanks, I mumbled, pouring myself some cereal. Dad lowered his newspaper. Your mother asked you a question, Adley. The least you could do is sound grateful. I am grateful. Thanks, Mom. I forced a smile. Mom exchanged glances with Dad. We've invited everyone over tonight. Aunt Meredith, Uncle Pete, the Wilsons from next door, even that friend of yours. What's his name? Liam? My spoon paused midway to my mouth. You invited Liam? Is that a problem? Dad's eyebrow arched. No, it's great. I'm just surprised. Well, we want your birthday to be memorable. Mom's smile didn't reach her eyes. I should have recognized the warning sign. At school, Liam caught up with me at lunch. Happy birthday, Adster. Ready for tonight? You're really coming? Your mom called my mom. Weird, right? They've never acknowledged my existence before. I frowned. Yeah, something feels off. Maybe they're finally warming up to me, Liam suggested, his perpetually optimistic self shining through. Or maybe they realized how miserable you've been and want to make things right, I snorted. My parents don't do right. They do control. Well, I'll be there as backup. He squeezed my shoulder. Text me if you need anything before then. That evening, our living room filled with the usual suspects. Relatives who ignored the tension and neighbors who pretended everything was perfect in the Parker home. There she is, Aunt Meredith rushed over, enveloping me in a jasmine-scented hug. 17, I can hardly believe it. Thanks for coming, Aunt Mare. She lowered her voice. Everything okay? You seem tense. Before I could respond, Mom interrupted. Meredith, help me with the drinks, would you? Liam arrived moments later, looking uncomfortable in a button-up shirt. Hey, he whispered. This is weird. Tell me about it. Dad clapped his hands. Everyone, gather around for cake. Mom emerged from the kitchen holding an elaborate 2-tier cake with 17 candles. Make a wish, sweetie. The crowd sang awkwardly. I closed my eyes, wishing I could just disappear. Blow out the candles, Adley, Dad instructed, his hand resting heavily on my shoulder. I leaned forward. That's when I felt it. 2 pairs of hands on the back of my head, shoving my face down hard into the cake. Frosting filled my nose and mouth. I couldn't breathe. Laughter erupted, not the good-natured kind, but cruel, mocking laughter. That's for thinking you're so special, Mom hissed near my ear. When they finally let me up, gasping and humiliated, Dad leaned in. Remember your place. You've never really belonged in this family anyway. The room fell silent. Aunt Meredith's hand covered her mouth. Liam stepped forward, but the look in Dad's eyes stopped him. I think the party's over, Mom announced cheerfully. Adley needs to clean herself up. As guests awkwardly filed out, Aunt Meredith squeezed my arm. Call me, she whispered. Liam was the last to leave. This isn't okay, he said, voice breaking. None of this is okay. That night, cake still in my hair, I made a decision. No more pretending. No more enduring. This wasn't just a bad day. It was the last day I'd let them hurt me. The next morning, I called Liam before school. Are you okay? He asked immediately. No, but I will be. Can you meet me at Riverside Park after school? Of course. Adley, what they did... I know. I'm done pretending. Will you help me? Whatever you need. At school, I avoided the cafeteria, finding instead the quiet office of Miss Carter, the school counselor. Adley, come in. She gestured to the chair across from her desk. What brings you here today? I hesitated. If I tell you something, will you have to report it? Her expression shifted. That depends. If you or someone else is in danger, yes. What about emotional abuse? Public humiliation? Miss Carter leaned forward. Why don't you tell me what happened? So I did. Everything poured out. The birthday, the cake, the years of subtle put-downs and not-so-subtle cruelty. They've always been this way, I explained. but never so publicly. It's like they wanted everyone to see me humiliated. And did your aunt, Meredith was it, witness this? I nodded. She seemed horrified. She told me to call her. Have you? Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first. Miss Carter tapped her pen thoughtfully. I believe what you're describing constitutes emotional abuse, Adley. I am obligated to report this. What will happen then? Child Protective Services will investigate. They'll talk to you, your parents, and possibly witnesses like your aunt and friend. My parents will deny everything. That's why documentation and witnesses are important. Do you have anyone staying with tonight? Somewhere safe? After school, Liam was waiting at our park bench. I talked to Miss Carter, I began. The counselor? What did she say? She's reporting my parents to CPS. She asked if I had somewhere to stay. Liam kicked at the gravel. My mom would take you in a heartbeat, but that's the first place they'd look. I was thinking Aunt Meredith. Your mom's sister? Wouldn't she side with your mom? You didn't see her face yesterday. She was horrified. My phone rang. Aunt Meredith. Adley? I've been trying to reach you since last night. Are you all right? Not really. Can I come over? I need to talk to you. Of course, I'll pick you up. Where are you? 20 minutes later, we sat in Aunt Mare's cozy apartment. Liam had come along for moral support. What your parents did was inexcusable, she said firmly. And that comment about not belonging, it's not the first time, I admitted. I've always suspected things weren't right, but Cassandra, your mother, she's very good at presenting a perfect image. Mrs. Wilson doesn't think anything's wrong, Liam added. She told my mom it was just a harmless prank. Aunt Meredith's eyes flashed. There was nothing harmless about it. Adley, you should know something. Your mother has always been jealous of you. Jealous? Of me? Why? You've accomplished things she never could. You're smarter, more determined, and you look like your grandmother, her mother, whom she resented deeply. My phone buzzed with a text from Miss Carter. CPS investigator wants to meet tomorrow. Can you come to my office at 9 a.m.? I showed Aunt Meredith. Will you come with me? Absolutely. Me too, Liam added. You should stay with me tonight, Aunt Meredith suggested. I'll call your parents and make up an excuse. As she stepped into the kitchen to make the call, Liam squeezed my hand. You're doing the right thing. What if nothing happens? What if they convince everyone I'm lying? Then we keep fighting. But Adley, what they did, everyone saw it. Mrs. Wilson might be in denial, but the truth is the truth. Aunt Meredith returned, her expression grim. Your father's coming to pick you up. Says family issues stay in the family. I can't go back there. Not tonight. You won't, she promised. I'm not letting you go anywhere with them. The doorbell rang 30 minutes later. Aunt Meredith answered while Liam and I stayed in the kitchen. Where is she? Dad's voice boomed. Lower your voice, Richard. She's staying here tonight. The hell she is. Adley, get out here now. I stepped into the living room, Liam right behind me. What's he doing here? Dad demanded, pointing at Liam. Supporting his friend, Liam replied evenly. Mom pushed past Dad. Adley, you're causing a scene. Again. Get your things. No, I said, the words surprisingly steady. Excuse me? Her eyes narrowed. I'm not going with you. Not after yesterday. Not after everything. Everything? Dad laughed harshly. A little cake in your face and suddenly we're abusive parents? Grow up? It's not just the cake, I countered. It's the constant criticism, the mind games, the you don't belong comments. Oh, please, Mom scoffed. You're so dramatic. Everyone gets teased on their birthday. Aunt Meredith stepped forward. That wasn't teasing, Cassandra. You humiliated her in front of everyone. And that comment about not belonging... Stay out of this, Meredith. You have no idea what it's like raising a child who's constantly ungrateful. Ungrateful? I felt something snap inside me. For what exactly? The constant criticism? The backhanded compliments? Or maybe I should be grateful that you waited until I was 17 to publicly humiliate me? We've given you everything. Dad insisted. A roof over your head, food, clothes? Those are basic parental obligations, not special favors, Liam interjected. Dad turned on him. This doesn't concern you, boy. Actually, it does, I said, because Liam was there. He saw what you did. So did Aunt Meredith and everyone else at the party. Miss Carter called CPS, I continued, watching their faces pale. They want to meet with me tomorrow. Mom's expression shifted from anger to panic. You called child services over a birthday prank? It wasn't a prank. You said I didn't belong in this family. You've been saying it my whole life, just never so directly. We never, Dad began. Don't lie, Aunt Meredith interrupted. I heard you, Richard. Everyone heard you. Mom stepped closer, voice suddenly honeyed. Sweetheart, we were just playing around. If you felt hurt, we're sorry, truly. But involving authorities? That's taking things too far. Now you're sorry? Now that there might be consequences? Adley, please. Mom reached for my hand. I pulled away. We're your parents. We love you. No, you don't. And I'm done pretending you do. Dad's facade cracked. You ungrateful little... He grabbed my arm roughly. You're coming home right now and you're going to call off this CPS nonsense. Let her go. Liam stepped between us. Richard! Aunt Meredith pulled out her phone. Let go of her now or I'm calling the police. Dad released me, pointing a finger in my face. You think this is bad? You have no idea what you've started. When this is over, you'll wish all we did was push your face in a cake. Are you threatening her? Liam asked incredulously. Stay out of this! Dad shoved him backward. That's assault, Aunt Meredith said, already dialing. On a minor in front of witnesses. Dad stormed out. Mom lingered, eyes pleading. Adley, please, come home. We can fix this. There's nothing to fix, I replied. It's already broken. It always was. The CPS investigation moved quickly. Miss Carter's office became command central with the investigator, Mrs. Rosario, interviewing everyone involved. The witness statements are consistent, she told me after a week. Your aunt's testimony was particularly compelling, as was your friend Liam's. What about my parents? What did they say? They denied the allegations, claimed it was a misunderstanding. But the physical incident at your aunt's apartment was documented by the responding officers. So what happens now? Given your age and the circumstances, the court has granted temporary guardianship to your Aunt Meredith, pending a final hearing. And my parents? They're required to attend parenting classes and family therapy if they want to pursue reunification. The court also issued a temporary restraining order after the incident at your aunt's apartment. Living with Aunt Meredith felt like breathing fresh air after years underwater. No eggshells to walk on, no bracing for the next cutting remark. 3 weeks later, we received notice of a family court hearing. My parents had petitioned for my return. You don't have to see them, Aunt Meredith assured me. Your statement to the court is sufficient. No, I want to be there. I need to say my piece. The courtroom felt impossibly large. My parents sat on one side with their attorney, looking appropriately contrite. My mother had been crying, or at least had made her eyes red. When it was my turn to speak, I approached the stand, avoiding their gaze. Adley, the judge said kindly, would you like to share your thoughts about this situation? Yes, Your Honor. For years, my parents made me feel unwelcome in my own home. The birthday incident wasn't isolated. It was just the first time they did it publicly. I described the emotional abuse, the constant criticism, the isolation. I don't want to return to that environment. With Aunt Meredith, I feel safe for the first time in my life. I can focus on school without walking on eggshells. I can have friends over without feeling ashamed. After the hearing, my parents approached in the hallway, the restraining order having been modified for court purposes. Adley, Mom reached for me, tears streaming. Please, we've made mistakes, but we're your parents. We love you. We're attending the classes, Dad added, his usual bluster gone. We're trying to change. I looked at them, really looked at them. perhaps for the first time. They seemed smaller somehow, less intimidating. I'm glad you're getting help, I said finally. You need it. Does that mean you'll consider coming home? Mom asked hopefully. No, that's not my home anymore. But we're family, Dad insisted. Family doesn't treat each other the way you treated me. People make mistakes, Adley, Mom pleaded. Can't you forgive us? Liam stepped up beside me. She doesn't owe you forgiveness. This isn't about forgiveness, I added. It's about consequences. For 17 years, you made me feel like an outsider in my own family. Now I'm choosing a different path. The judge's decision came down the following week. I would remain with Aunt Meredith until graduation. My parents would have supervised visitation rights, if I wanted them. I didn't. 6 months later, on my half-birthday, Aunt Meredith, Liam, and Miss Carter gathered for a small celebration. No cake? Liam teased. Cupcakes, I replied, bringing out a tray. Individual servings, no face planting required. How are you feeling about everything? Miss Carter asked. I considered her question carefully. Lighter, like I've set down something heavy I didn't even realize I was carrying. Your parents called again, Aunt Meredith mentioned cautiously. They'd like to see you. Maybe someday, I allowed. But not now. Right now, I'm focusing on building a life with people who actually want me in it. To new beginnings, Liam raised his cupcake. To belonging, I answered, finally feeling like I did. Do you feel like you've ever had to stand up against family members who treated you unfairly? Share your stories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.